Hi, and welcome to Castanet's Week in Review. I'm Nich Johansen with your top stories from this past week. The former Kelowna social worker who's been under investigation for more than 2 years for allegedly stealing money from dozens of at-risk youth in his care was finally arrested this week in Alberta, and he's being brought back to Kelowna to face 13 criminal charges. Robert Riley Saunders worked for the Ministry of Children and Family Services from 1996 to 2018, when he was fired following a number of allegations of theft and fraud from former youth in his care. The province has recently settled a class action lawsuit in the matter, which is expected to exceed $8 million in payouts. Saunders' alleged victims said they ended up homeless, addicted to drugs, and sexually exploited as a result of Saunders' actions. He's expected to make his first appearance in court next week. The first long-term care home resident in the interior died from COVID-19 this week, when a man in his 80s succumbed to the disease in Kelowna. An outbreak at Kelowna's Mountain View Village was declared on Monday after a staff member and resident contracted the virus. On Thursday, Interior Health announced the resident had died from the virus sometime in the previous 24 hours. 4 of BC's 492 COVID deaths have come from the interior. 3 staff members at the care home have now tested positive for the virus. The death may be connected to a local hockey team who recently traveled to Alberta, returned with COVID-19, and then spread the virus to dozens of people. On Wednesday, Dr. Bonnie Henry said an interior-based hockey team recently traveled to Alberta and spread the virus to several businesses and a long-term care home upon their return. The only recent care home cases in the interior are at Kelowna's Mountain View Village. As a result of the steadily increasing COVID-19 cases across the province, all indoor and outdoor adult team sports were temporarily banned by Dr. Henry this past week. Additionally, youth sports have had to cancel games and scrimmages, transitioning to only practices for the time being.
A number of these adult team sports are really very much social gatherings as well as sport. And unfortunately, those types of gatherings are leading to transmission events that are happening. And I mentioned hockey yesterday. We've seen transmission events in curling. We've seen it with a number of adult team sports.
And with temperatures dropping, a new temporary winter shelter was opened this past week inside the former Daily Courier building.
Well, our outreach numbers showed that despite the permanent shelters that we already have in Kelowna, there were quite a few people who are still living it rough out on the street. And so we knew that come winter, it becomes dangerous when people are outside. And so we needed to be able to, as a city, provide them a place to come inside from the cold.
With 40 beds, the shelter will be open until the end of March. That's it for this week's Week in Review. For Castanet News, I'm Nich Johansen.